True evil is something that is very hard to write for some people. A lot of the time in media, villains are often given tragic pasts as a way to explain why they are the way they are. This type of writing is all over the place nowadays, but you still have your villains that are evil with no remorse and no redeemable qualities whatsoever. Although that is seen much less. Today, I want to take a look at a very interesting example of pure evil in media. We are taking a look at Junko Enoshima from Danganronpa. Now, Danganronpa is a very weird, complicated, and stupid series to explain, so I'll do my best with what I got, okay? Alright, so let's take a look at Junko's backstory. From the moment she was born, Junko was already fucked up in the head, since according to her, she was already filled with despair since she was a baby, and saw her own birth as a mistake. That is one hell of a way to start off, Jesus fucking Christ. Anyways, we don't really get to know much about Junko's upbringing other than she was homeless at some point. But it's safe to say that she was a bit of a privileged girl, given where she ended up later in the series. Junko is the older twin sister of Mukuro Ikusawa. One of Junko's favorite pastimes when they were younger was to manipulate and abuse Mukuro in any way she could. Something she would continue to do for many years. A little something that the games didn't cover, but I managed to find out, was that Junko was childhood friends with this one guy called Yosuke Matsuda. She was Junko's main love interest and the only person Junko ever legitimately cared about. I'll come back to him later, but just know that he's a rather big piece in this puzzle. Junko was a very intelligent and beautiful young woman, so she managed to become the world's most popular fashion model with relative ease. You see, Junko's analytical mind had no equal, since she basically saw the outcome of everything before it even happened, which bored her to death, and was one of the reasons she adopted despair's mindset, as it was more unpredictable and fun for her. Despair is a big part of Junko's character, and something I'll expand upon later, but something you need to know for now is that Junko loves despair. She can't get enough of the stuff. She would rather do things to cause despair to herself, like building a sandcastle that took a month to make, only to destroy it before it was finished. And her modeling career also filled her with despair, since most of her fans were creeps objectifying her and never really seeing her true self. Junko's life is basically this fucking picture right here, and you know what? I find that hilarious. In between manipulating her sister and being bored, one day Junko decided to become just the most awful person in the world. Her modeling career was so successful that she was scouted by Hope's Peak Academy, an institution who looks for the most talented people in one particular field. So, she saw this opportunity to make things worse for literally everyone. From there, she would mastermind the events of the whole series, and use everything and everyone she could to cause unprecedented amounts of despair. Basically orchestrating various strategies and events that in universe would lead up to something called the biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history, which involved a bunch of students killing each other and society as we know crumbling. Pretty sure I can name a handful of events in history that are more tragic than a bunch of kids killing each other, but hey, whatever. Anyways, skipping a bunch of things that don't really matter right now, Junko decides that she needs a memory erasure device so she could manipulate people even more. So, she asked her boy toy Matsuda to look into it, since he grew up to be the ultimate neurologist. She asked him to use her as a guinea pig to make sure that the memory erasure worked, and she goes as far as to write a diary with fake memories for her to learn, turning from Junko Enoshima to Ryoko Tonashi. And Matsuda, God bless his soul, realized that Junko was a menace to everyone, so he tried his best to keep Junko as Ryoko, so she couldn't harm anyone. Sadly, he couldn't contain the beast for long, and Junko ended up killing him, bringing even more despair to herself, as she had just killed the only person she ever loved. She also convinced a bunch of kids to not kill themselves, but only so she could use them in her ploys to cause even more despair, especially this one and her connections to the Towa Foundation, so she could manufacture a Monokuma army. Monokuma is basically Junko's mascot. It's the thing she wants people to wear masks of when they destroy public property and other such nonsense. All in the name of despair. Now, what the fuck is despair? Seriously, I've said that word so many times that it's starting to lose its meaning. Well, to put it simply, despair is the absence of hope. It's the idea that things cannot get better and will only get worse. That the bad situation you're in is so inescapable that you should just give up. Though in the world of Danganronpa, it's taken to the next level. And it's treated like a disease. Something that infects your mind and makes you basically become an anarchist and a nihilist. Now, Junko's way of looking at both hope and despair is that hope is the expected. It's the status quo, predictable and boring. Meanwhile, despair is the wild card, the unexpected, the exciting. And for someone who's always 12 steps ahead, it's the option that brings the most entertainment. Oh, and she also has like a weird kink about it. Like, she basically gets horny whenever despair happens, and I mean, I ain't judging, I'm not kink shaming, but still, kinda weird. Now, this is the part of the video where I go over her personality and how it affects everyone around her, but I'm pretty sure I don't need to explain this to you. Junko's fucking crazy and evil. Now look, while most of the time I would love to dive into the psychology of a character, I feel like doing that here would be an insult to every other character that I have analyzed or will analyze at some point. Like, yeah, I could say that she has dissociative identity disorder, but can I really say that when her reason for switching personalities is because she's bored? I could say that she's a megalomaniac, but I feel like other megalomaniacs would want to stab me for insinuating that this girl is like them. I could say that she has antisocial personality disorder, but frankly, pretty sure any professional in the field of psychology would send this bitch to the electric chair. To put it simply, there is just no reason for anything Junko does psychologically speaking. She's just a bitch that wants to watch the world burn. And that she does. She manipulates and abuses everyone around her and has no remorse for it. She only cares about despair and its effect on people because she wants to be entertained. She is smart and has a scheming mind, but as you'll see in a moment, all that smart won't save her from a 4-letter word. Not that one, you fucking creep. So skipping a bunch of things that don't matter for now, we see how Junko decided to play Jigsaw and is monitoring her classmates and forcing them to kill each other under the identity of Monokuma. You see him? There he is. There's the mascot. She even made her sister take her identity so no one would suspect that she was behind it all. And to sell the lie even more, she killed her sister while she was pretending to be her. And no, Mokuro had no idea this was a part of her sister's plan. Poor girl. Some total drama island bullshit later, we are now at the end. Junko has revealed herself and is ready to make the survivors fall on their despair. But unfortunately for her, she met her match, thanks to a very boring boy with a funny haircut. Makoto Naegi basically flips the script on Junko and tries to instill hope in his classmates. The opposite of despair. So in the end, it was all a matter of which ideology was going to win. The idea that you should give up and succumb to your negative thoughts, or have the strength to fight on and live to see things get better. In the end, Naegi's hope overcame Junko's despair, and he managed to save his classmates, which sent Junko over the edge and made her commit the goofiest suicide I've ever seen. Seriously, what is this shit? So Junko's dead, right? Yeah, but unfortunately for everyone in universe, she made backups. Junko's influence continues even after her death. From convincing a bunch of children to kill adults in the most fucked up version of Codename Kids Next Door you've ever seen, to make an AI version of herself and put it inside of a virtual reality simulation where she planned to put her conscience inside of people's bodies so that everyone would become Junko. Holy shit, that's just enough help wanted, huh? And finally, create an army of murderous teddy bears that killed millions. Somehow. Now I move on to Junko's personality. For real this time. She is, for lack of a better word, a crazy cunt. She is absolutely and utterly insane and uses her looks and intellect to get what she wants all the time. She manipulates and controls people to do her will and follow her insane ideology of despair, which she is obsessed with since it's the only thing in her life that brings her any joy. Junko also has this habit of changing personalities because, as she puts it, she gets bored and wants to switch it up, going as far as to copy another character's personality. Junko does copy a lot of things from other people, I've noticed. Interesting. I've seen a lot of people compare her to the Joker from DC, and I have to say that the comparison is rather adept, since both are crazy, sadistic, probably smell bad, and both are after the same thing: anarchy, chaos, and for people to go insane like them. I will say that the Joker never got the same amount of destruction as Junko did, because the moment this bitch had the chance to enact her plan, society collapsed. Not to mention that you can't really beat Junko. I mean, you can, but not in the traditional sense. Her personality and ideology basically boils down to, if things go how I want them to go, you will feel despair and I win. Or, if you beat me, that means I will fall under despair and I will enjoy it, so I still win. So either way you slice it, you can't really beat her unless you basically go, both hope and despair suck, fuck your game, fuck your anarchist ideology, and fuck you. Since that would make her feel nothing but emptiness. Since the despair didn't get to you, and you also don't believe in hope, so she can't get the satisfaction of her opposing mindset beating her. I have to say, even if I think that she is a bit overplayed as a villain, I mean, even the last game in the series even pointed this out.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Even if nobody was waiting. Even if it makes you go, what? Again?
There you have it! Once again, the mastermind is Junko Enoshima!
I really like Junko as an antagonist. Her chaotic and manipulative personality go well with her intellect, since a lot of the time characters that are revealed to be masterminds and end up being either egocentric assholes, quiet geniuses, or have no personality whatsoever. Junko breaks the mold and actually manages to be both entertaining and scary. She is basically a whole-ass Looney Tune, and it's pretty neat. Also, yes, I'll be the one to say it, she's pretty fucking hot. Now, I'm not saying that I can fix her. Lord knows that if a lobotomy didn't do it, nothing will. But all I'm saying is, I am not above sticking my dick in crazy. I know I usually make my analysis to be in-depth and very educational, but here, nah man, she's just fucking crazy. Which is to be expected since her creator, Kazutaka Todaka, has said that he felt that giving a villain a sad backstory felt like cheating. So he just made Junko the most irredeemable person ever. I know there's some people out there that genuinely believe that with enough help, she probably wouldn't have ended up the way she did, aka a turbo terrorist. And while I think that could work for a lot of people, with her? Nah. She belongs in the chair, my friend.
That was horrible! Your wish is horrible! You're horrible! You're an irredeemable monster!
What took you so long, idiot?